Hey everyone, I hope you guys are having a great Thursday. This is episode 112. Man, it's been a long journey we've been on together, but I hope you guys are enjoying it, and we will continue to bring motivation each and every day because we know that's what we need sometimes, is a little push to get us over the hump and find success together. So my name is Anthony Hester. I'm the host and founder of Breathe Motivation. So glad you guys could join us. So yesterday we talked to Dr. Baker. So I hope you guys got a chance to learn some things and really, kind of have an idea of where you're at in life and being able to take some of the things that she shared with us to be able to make your life better. I think that's the most important thing out of this podcast, is that we're getting better. We're finding success. We're helping you find your purpose and passion in a day-to-day basis. So I think that's very great. And I'm very appreciative of her being on yesterday. So if you haven't gotten a chance, go and listen to her podcast, Go Friend Yourself. So it's 2 words, your, and then self. So go listen to it. I enjoy it myself. So yeah, just go do that. So today we're going to talk about standards. So standards, I think, are important for us to have in our lives and understand that, the standards that we have will create the life that we have. So let me start off with the definition. So the definition of standard is an idea or thing used as a measure, norm, or model in comparative evaluations. So I think one of the things that, why I wanted to talk about this is sometimes I think that we set our standards a little bit low, right? I think that we, in our minds think that, hey, I've got to settle for this because, that's what I can get. And I will tell you, and I would challenge you to really, think differently. And from my experience, I used to think the same way. I was like, oh, this is what I deserve. This is the standard of what I should have in my life. And I would settle for just about anything. I wouldn't say anything, but, as I was looking at friends, I would settle for below average friends or, average friends that, weren't really bringing anything to the table. I dated, some women that, probably weren't the best for me either. And, probably gave me more headaches than they brought benefit. But also, just in work, I think sometimes you settle and get complacent in that. And, your standards for work start to change over life. And, from the examples that we've talked about, right, I think that's an important thing for us to understand, or the examples that were shown sometimes become the standard for us. And with the standards, I think it's important for us to really decide what our own standards are, not what the standards are for other people. Now, that can get a little bit confusing, right? Because sometimes we don't even know what our standard is. And what really worked for me and what really helped me was actually my wife really helped me to really understand, a little bit more and expect more for myself, right? She used to, and it's one of those things because we kind of joke about it, or, people joke about it all the time, is that sometimes women or your partner or spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever will try to change you. And I would say that my wife did change me, but in a good sense. I think there's such a kind of, I don't know, I guess a cliche, or I don't know, it's kind of weird, but, people will be like, oh, well, you changed because of your wife. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I changed for my wife, and I changed for the better. She used to joke about all the time on how I would dress a certain way. And I had no clue, like, these fashion standards or whatever, right? So I used to, wear these big old baggy clothes, and, I'd wear these baggy shirts that were, almost, to my knees. Well, not necessarily, well, maybe at some point, but, I had these kind of pants that had kind of like these different, I don't know, symbols on them, or, I had this, these pair of pants that I really loved that were jeans, but they had kind of like a strip of sequins, I guess. Yeah, they were sequins. I think they were made by Sean John. So my wife was like, man, those are really terrible. And I used to wear what she called were jorts, right? So jean shorts. And I didn't know that was a big of a deal. I thought they were comfortable, and I used to enjoy wearing those. So, one of those things was, you kind of, when I look at my standards now, I really hold myself to a higher standard than what I would look at myself then. And not that I didn't have a high standard for myself, but, in certain areas, but all around, I have found better standards for myself, and finding people that are going to help, bring something to my life, just like I would bring things to their lives, right? It's kind of a trade-off. So when we're in relationships, You want to be able to have people in your life that are going to bring something to you. And hopefully that's something positive, right? I've had friends where they were negative and, they brought nothing but negativity towards my life. And guess whose fault that was? It was mine, right? And it's because I didn't have standards. I didn't have a belief in myself that I deserved better or that I am going to get better, right? So that's part of the problem, is that we have this view of ourselves, and sometimes that view is distorted, whether that's from, friends telling you that you're not good enough, or your family not telling you, telling you you're not good enough. I kind of had a combination, and even myself just telling myself, oh, I don't deserve any better. I don't think I should get any better. And, my standards were so low that I would have people around me that, used me. They would use me for a good time while we're going out, and they would, so I would be paying for everything. And of course, why wouldn't these people use me if I'm allowing it, right? So you start to have these standards, and as you start to see and kind of reflect on who you are, I want you guys to kind of challenge your thoughts and, again, really look at who you are and what you deserve. Because a lot of the times we will go through life, and I went through, majority of my life listening to other people's thoughts and opinions of me. And that became toxic for me because I started to settle for things that, I shouldn't have before. And then as I started to really kind of step back and really, analyze where I was and who I was, and really deciding that I deserve more, things started to open up and get better. So there were jobs that I would take, when I was doing door to door, when I first started, when I first moved to Texas, it was 100% commission. I didn't make it, I didn't have health insurance. I didn't get any money from, mileage and all of this stuff. So I kind of settled, and I stayed in this job, I think, way too long. I learned a lot of lessons, and I appreciate those lessons, but I probably should have moved on and known that, hey, I could have gotten more, because I am, I'm better than, I don't want to say I'm better than door to door, because I think there's a lot of great things that you can learn in door to door. And there are people out there that are very successful door to door, but there were opportunities for me to learn and grow in other positions and kind of rise above, where I was going, because I could have stayed at this platform. And, at one point it just got so bad where, I was miserable doing it, working 6 days a week and working from, 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning. I get to the office and then I'm out until 9 at night. It became, so strenuous on myself and, kind of where I was at. And I'm working in the summer in Texas, and it's freaking hot, and it's just ridiculous. But at the same time, I would have never learned some of the lessons I learned. So I think that's important for us to understand, that we will get better and we deserve better, but you've got to be able to figure that out and really reflect on your life and decide what you want. But people will always tell you, oh, your standards are too high, right? So if you're looking to date somebody and guess what, you're single and you've been single, well, sometimes people aren't going to meet your standards. Then it's okay to have standards. It's the same thing with jobs. It's okay. I have these set requirements for this job, or, for a job that I want to take, and I'm not going to take anything less. It's the same thing when I was dating people. I got to a point where I was dating these women, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to accept these things. And if these things are not met, then guess what? I'm going to be single, and it's going to be okay, right? And I think we've got to be comfortable with that. We got to get comfortable being uncomfortable and having standards and beliefs that we are okay with, and know that we're going to get better, and be okay with waiting. Because, a lot of times when you wait, great things come because you didn't rush the situation or rush to decisions, right? I've rushed some decisions in jobs, and 6 months later I was like, oh man, what did I get myself into, right? So you've got to set that mold and that standard of what you want, but you've got to decide what you want, and never really focus on other people's opinions on if your standards are too high or whatever that looks like, because in that point you're going to lose every time, because you're so focused on somebody else running your life and you're not running it. So remember, it's your life to live, and you're the only one that can live it and be happy and understand what makes you happy, what makes you upset, and what your standards are and what your beliefs are. Nobody else can tell you that. So that's something I struggle with for years, and I want you guys to know that you guys can find the standards and have the high standards that you want, and you will get it. You just have to go after it and not be okay with not getting it. So let me leave you with this quote: never apologize for having high standards. People who really want to be in your life will rise up to meet them. So it's important for you to understand that you are going to get better. You are going to be focused, and you are going to always win. If that's the decision you want, you've got to look in your mind and say, hey, I'm going to win. I'm going to be awesome, and I'm going to have awesome things because that's what I want and I know I can get it. So just be confident in your beliefs, be confident in what you do, and I promise you, having high standards is A-okay. It's perfect, okay? So just know that having high standards is great for you and you will always get what you want. So follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Breathe Motivate, like our page on Facebook, Breathe Motivation. Check out my website. I actually have been working on getting that updated and looking a little bit nicer and having a lot of different things going on there. So I'll continue to update that and get it better. But breathemotivation.com is my website. I would love to hear from you guys on social media and, my website, my email, anthonyhester@breathemotivation.com. I love hearing from you guys. I want you guys to be able to, if you guys have some questions, start sending me some questions because I want to have like a Q&A, kind of podcast for you guys. So, kind of things that I've gone through or things that you're struggling with that I can help you with. I always want to be able to help for you on here. So as always, remember to breathe motivation and exhale success. I will see you tomorrow on Friday. Thanks.